What's up, guys? We're throwing a leather. I'm Justin,
I'm Corey.
and today we are doing the second rounds, second and final rounds of our welterweight and heavyweight Grand Prix like fantasy tournaments. So it's just UFC. I think the original rounds, first rounds, are still on like Spotify and Apple podcasts. They're not on. We didn't upload those on YouTube. I don't think, right?
No.
No, yeah, they're still up there, but now we're on YouTube. Well, the newer rounds are anyway. So let's get right into it, right?
Yep.
All right, we'll start off with the heavyweight division just to give you some background. The second round was first seed Stipe against the 10th seed Overeem. Second seed Cain Velasquez versus 8th seed Josh Barnett. Third seed Randy Couture versus 6th seed Fabricio Verdum. And 4th seed Daniel Cormier versus 5th seed Junior Dos Santos. And we went through, picked who we think would have won. You guys will probably disagree with them, but we don't care. So I don't mean that mean. I mean it like it's just an opinion. You could say whoever you want. This is just our opinion and who we think should have won. All right. You want to take a first round? Or first matchup, rather, not first round.
Yeah, it was
Miocic and Overeem.
I think I took Stipe.
Yeah, I think we both took Stipe in that one.
Basically because, prime, both guys
Yeah.
prime.
And it was, Ubereem if we're talking prime, so horse meat ream, but prime Stipe was just
Yeah, I think Stipe's wrestling was too much for him.
Yeah.
But
Could go either way. Again,
fight's a fight.
like we said, could go either way any of these fights.
But I think
It's where we are.
Stipe would definitely
Oh, for sure.
most likely come out of that as a victory.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. Again, it comes down to the wrestling. I think Stipe. Stipe's chin isn't bad. It's not great, but then again, you look at who he got knocked out by Ngannou. Most people would get knocked out by Ngannou if hit clean like that. So,
Yep.
and Reem did feel a tap when they fought. So maybe
I think
Reem would. But I think Stipe
in that
their
situation,
primes,
yeah.
in their primes, I got Stipe.
But very close.
Yeah, I think that might be the closest of the fights in the second round, quarterfinal round. But next up, we have the second fight. Second seed Cain Velasquez versus 8th seed Josh Barnett, and we both took Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, that's also a good fight. Both wrestlers, but I think Cain would technically be too good for Josh Barnett.
Yeah, Prime Cain is very underrated, I think. He doesn't get talked about enough like he should. Like, when Stipe was fighting DC in the trilogy last year, a lot of people were saying that was, for the title of greatest heavyweight of all time, even though I still think the greatest MMA heavyweight is Fedor. But for UFC purposes, I think Cain has a right to that title as well.
Yeah, I think.
Back then he did. Maybe not as much now.
Yeah, I think people slept on Cain a little bit. He beat a lot of top guys. Like he destroyed Brock Lesnar.
And don't forget the 2 beatdowns of JDS, which were bad.
Yeah,
real bad.
But yeah, that would be a great fantasy fight. Those two I think the wrestling would like stalemate each other, and then like they would stand, and I think his technique and his
And they called him Cardio Cain for a reason. He
Yeah,
didn't get tired.
yeah.
Sea-level Cain didn't get tired.
and Josh Barnett did get tired.
Yeah, Barnett's not he's another one who I think is somewhat underrated, but because of the steroids, it's why he doesn't get talked about a lot.
Like even in his prime, he would eventually gas out.
I'm telling you, Prime Cain, man, don't sleep on Prime Cain. He might be my pick to win the whole tournament. I don't know.
Yeah, Prime Cain was.
He was good.
Yeah,
he was real good. You want to take the next one?
Who's that?
Randy and Verdum.
Ooh, Randy and Verdum.
Tough one.
I would go Randy.
Yeah, I was back and forth on it for a while, but I thought about it and I was like, Randy wins fights you don't think he's gonna win.
Yeah.
So
And-
that's
You know, where's Randy's prime? Is it between like 36 and 40-year-old Randy, or is it
I think the thing with Randy Couture is almost his entire career was his prime.
like it seems like he had two different times that he was prime.
I think once he lost to Brock, that's when it ended, though.
Well, yeah, Brock was just
I mean, he was also in his 40s, though. I mean, that's way longer than most people's prime.
yeah. And
So-
like you said, Randy could when Randy is picked to lose,
Randy wins.
Randy always somehow
And he wins in ways that...
dramatic fashion.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Sylvia fight, obviously.
Yeah, I think Randy just dirty boxes and gets him and leans
wrestling
on him
too,
and
yeah.
wrestles and makes it a gritty fight
Hell of a fight.
and just wears him out.
Yeah.
And then he gets I think he gets a submission on him, which is
You think he
big,
submits for Doom?
yeah.
See, I don't think he
he's-
submits him, but...
I think it's a gritty. He gets him in there and he gets him up against the cage and he just wears on him and beats him up.
Well, I
and
think he does too, but I don't...
I think he somehow gets his back and chokes him out.
I would lean towards that more being a decision, regardless of who would win, but especially being Randy. Maybe a TKO, like ground and pound. I don't think he'd submit for Doom, but then again, I mean, you never know. It's a crazy sport, but I don't think he would have submitted Prime for Doom.
Captain America. That's
Hey?
he was the original.
Yeah, well, Starback was the original in sports, but...
Hmm.
Cowboys fan. Don't rip on me for that, but yeah. All right. Anyway, going back to MMA, the final fight of the quarterfinals: DC versus JDS,
Another great fight.
and in their primes, again, both guys were spectacular.
Yeah.
But I think DC's toughness, especially in his prime, and his wrestling is just way too much. For
Yeah, I think he
JDS.
wears JDS out.
Yeah.
Just say it the same way Randy would dirty box, make it gritty. I think he just like weighs on him, you know, like he has him up.
Yeah, I no offense to JDS, but I think DC would just be too much for him in the grappling and the ground.
Yeah, like he
Way
just
too
grapples
much,
him and then
way
just
too much.
wears on him
Yeah.
and gets him to the ground and finishes it.
That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I mean, both of our predictions, but yeah, no. Again, that's no offense to JDS, who in his prime was a hell of a puncher and
Oh yeah,
kickboxer.
yeah.
But DC in his prime was real tough. People got to realize that, and I think at the end of the day, his wrestling, his grappling, and even his striking would just be too much for JDS.
Yeah.
Added on to the fact that he helped Kane prepare for JDS 3 times.
Yeah,
So
so they
there's that.
yeah, that would definitely be an advantage.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. But that's the semifinal round, which would be Stipe versus DC, and then Kane versus Randy. So we'll be back to those, but
Let's
we're
move
going
on to
to
the-
go
to the welterweight.
exactly. So quarterfinals at welterweight, we got the number 1 seed GSP versus number 8 Carlos Condit. Number 2 Matt Hughes versus number 7 Johnny Hendricks. I was just thinking I may have... No, never mind. Sorry for that. Number 3, Kamaru Usman versus Robbie Lawler. And number 4, Tyron Woodley versus number 5, Nick Diaz. So, first fight, GSP Condit, actually happened, and I don't think it would change. I think GSP is just...
GSP domination.
Yeah, and my point for why I think that fight would go the way it did in a second fight is their first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
There's not too much to.
No.
Condon got a tough break with his ranking.
Yeah.
Just you ran into GSP.
Yeah. I mean, he did beat Nick Diaz to win the interim belt, but St. Pierre at that point was just... You weren't getting past GSP.
No.
And GSP made it look ugly. I mean, it was ugly because he beat, Condit, but it was just... He made it look easy, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't think anything would change. And the United States the same. So, next up, number 2, Matt Hughes, 7, Johnny Hendricks.
I'm going with Hughes.
Me too, but it's close. I'm going to say this. I think Johnny Hendricks is overrated.
Okay.
And I don't want people to come at me and say, well, okay, all right. Let me rephrase overrated. I think his fight against St. Pierre is looked at in a different manner than it should. I think he just got lucky. I mean, he did go and beat Robbie, but the first fight was very close. And then he lost the rematch.
Yep.
And then he beat Matt Brown, and then he never really regained his footing after he lost to Robbie in the rematch.
Yeah.
So, again, both those fights were very close. Probably could have gone either way, but I think Matt Hughes, who doesn't get enough respect, would probably beat him.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a hell of a wrestling matchup because
And
All-American
I think that's what it would end up being. It would end up being like a grappling match because Matt Hughes, I think Hendricks would have an advantage on the strikes.
Yeah, I'd probably.
But I
give him an
think Matt
advantage there.
Hughes is, first of all, his experience and the wrestling experience.
Matt Hughes is just built different.
And he is built different, but he's been in every type of situation you could think of, good, bad, ugly, everything. So he wins this fight.
Yeah, I think it might be close, but I think he wins.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe not even close.
I can see a submission victory for Matt Hughes in this fight,
Okay,
like late third round.
I don't hate that. Next up, Kamaru Usman versus Robbie Lawler.
Oh, this one hurts me.
Yeah, we're both big Lawler fans. I mean, I like Usman too, but yeah, Marty.
Robbie's my guy.
Usman just
prime Lawler though. Tell me he wasn't an animal.
He was, but man, prime Usman is he just gets better with every fight.
I mean, prime Usman is literally like you watched.
We're
Usman's
witnessing it
last
right
fight.
now.
Yeah,
we're
this is
witnessing
his
it
prime right now.
But he gets better every single time he fights. I mean,
which is scary.
He got better from the Woodley fight. Well, from the Covington fight to the first Masvidal fight. From that to Burns. From Burns to the Masvidal rematch. And people are saying, just to kind of switch gears, but they're saying Colby can beat him. Colby may have almost beat the old Usman, but this new Usman is so much better than the old one and better than Covington.
And let me, staying on kind of that same track, as everybody kept saying Stipe would beat
Francis. I thought he would. I thought he would too.
And everybody, because of their last fight and new Francis.
See, the thing is, though, Francis' last couple of fights were so quick that we didn't get the chance to see the new Francis until the Stipe rematch.
Okay, yeah.
But we've gotten to see the new Usman, though.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah.
And the old Covington, when he fought Woodley, he didn't really show any major improvements like Usman did. Like, Usman in the striking is so much. I mean, he knocked out Masvidal, who has never been knocked out before that, and he was cold.
It was a tough-looking knockout.
It was cold. He was out as cold as you get out. And
yeah. So how do you see the fight going though? Like,
I see it. I don't know if Usman would want to mess with Lawler's power, so I think he'd probably just wear him down on the ground, grapple him, wrestle him.
Robbie did have a tough time with people on the ground.
Yeah, and Usman obviously is great there, so that's where I think that fight would go. But again, maybe Usman.
The McDonald fight, he baited him and tried to keep him up standing.
Maybe
most of the time they did, but Lawler did have tough times keeping himself off the ground.
Usman could also want to prove that he could strike with them, which might not be the best, but
yeah, it can go either way. Like, the strategy is huge in this. Like, if he decided to say, "Hey, I'm going to stand with him," I might go with Lawler. Because Lawler can catch you, and that's it.
Yeah, I still go with Usman, though. Personally, I still go with Usman.
Yeah.
Close fight, nonetheless. All right, last quarterfinal matchup at welterweight, Tyron Woodley and Nick Diaz.
This is another one. Prime Woodley, not Woodley now.
Yeah.
Prime Woodley.
Not falling in and out of love, Woodley. Prime, the one that knocked out Josh Koscheck, Woodley.
I think I had Woodley.
Yeah, we both had Woodley.
I think, yeah.
Prime T was
yeah, I think he would.
He was great.
Honestly, I think it would be. I don't think he. I don't know if he knocks him out.
The Diaz brothers are tough. I don't know if he would knock him out, but I think he would beat him in 25 minutes.
I think it would be a decision, but I think they would just. That would be a hell of a war.
Couple Stockton slaps in there.
That would be a war. prime guys. Wow.
Amazing.
I really wish we could see some of these fights.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So, recapping, GSP and Woodley and Hughes versus Usman are the semifinal matchups. At welterweight and heavyweight, it's Stipe versus DC and Velasquez versus Couture. So, Stipe versus DC in their primes. Now, not when they fought.
Not when they fought.
Prime.
Huh. I'm probably gonna go Stipe.
See, oh damn. It's tough. I didn't think it was still recording, but it is now. I don't know. Man, get away from that stupid computer stuff. Anyway. Yeah, I'll go Stipe.
I think Stipe's power would be too much.
Yeah, and in their prime, Stipe's a great wrestler too. So I think he could stuff some of the takedowns. But let's not forget, until Stipe started going to the body on DC in the second fight, DC was coasting. So
another, we've seen
in
this
the
fight.
trilogy.
We've seen 3 of these fights, but I don't know.
It's one of the most evenly matched matchups in the history of the UFC.
Yeah, it literally is a coin flip.
I might go DC. I might go DC, but I have another reason why I might go DC.
Why?
You'll see.
So what do we have to do?
We'll see.
We can't see.
Well, no. Next up, Kane and Randy. I'm going Kane. I just think his wrestling is very underrated, and his striking and his cardio. I think he would just overwhelm Randy.
Even though it does hurt me to say that, but yes, I think Kane would be too much for Randy.
Yeah.
Technically, too. Technically striking, he would be too much for him.
Yeah.
Wrestling, I think he would be too strong for Randy, and he would stop the shoot every time. I wouldn't not say every time, but most of the time, he would just be too strong.
Yeah. So, my final is Kane and Cormier.
And minus Stipe and Kane. All right, who you taking?
We'll see. We gotta do the welterweights first.
All right, Dana.
Welterweight semifinal, first matchup, GSP and Tyron Woodley. Like I said, I think the prime GSP is the greatest fighter of all time. So, no offense to T Wood, but
yeah, this is a perfect GSP is going to lose fight, and then GSP takes him down every single round, and I don't want to say lays on top of him.
GSP didn't.
GSP laid on
sometimes.
GSP laid on some people.
Everyone does. Even Khabib did. John Jones. Everyone.
Yeah. But I think this would be that everybody's expecting. Oh, Woodley can catch him. Woodley's going to put him on if he hits him, and then GSP takes him down, controls him for every round, like he does all the time.
Yeah.
It's just set up perfectly for that.
Yeah, either that or GSP beats him on the feet. Either way, I think GSP is just better. I think it's a very good fight, though.
I don't think GSP would stand with Prime Woodley.
GSP didn't really stand with Prime anybody, though. That's
well,
the
no,
thing.
yeah,
he was a wrestler, but he could, though.
That's his prime strategy right there. But besides getting greased up between each round.
Stop that.
But let's not go there.
Stop that. Next up, Hughes versus Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, it's.
I got Usman.
I have to go with Usman too. He's too much of. Like I said, he would
everywhere. He's a threat.
He would be too strong for Matt Hughes.
On the feet, he would decimate him, and I think even on the ground. I mean, he's bigger. He's way bigger than. I know it makes no sense because they're the same weight class, but he's bigger than Matt Hughes.
Yeah, Matt Hughes, and even in Matt Hughes' prime.
Yeah.
I think Usman's too big. He's too strong. Everything, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going with Usman on that. So St.
GSP
Pierre,
and Usman.
Usman, and then mine is DC Kane, and yours is Stipe Kane.
Yeah.
So one of the fights I've always wanted to see the teammates, Kane and DC, which probably did happen in transpiring, but I think it'd be an incredible fight. And
I know where you're going with yours.
what do you think I'm gonna say?
DC.
No, I'm going Kane.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. I think Prime Kane is criminally underrated. I'll keep saying it. His cardio was insane while he was at sea level, not in Mexico City. His wrestling is very, very, very good. Even Chael Sonnen said in one of his videos how he thinks he's one of the best wrestlers in the history of the UFC.
Yeah.
And his striking was great. I think he beats DC. I think it's a crazy fight, a competitive fight.
Yeah.
But I think Kane gets it done.
Yeah. Mine.
I think he stops him.
You do?
I think he stops him.
Yeah. So for mine, it would be Stipe Kane. I'm also going Kane.
Yeah, I think Kane is really underrated, man. Prime Kane is so underrated.
I remember watching Prime Kane. Like, I was fully engulfed in the UFC at that time.
Right.
And I like how people don't talk about him is crazy to me.
Because recency bias, people live in...
Well, people live like, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
But his prime against Stipe, the wrestling I think would be great. The dirty boxing would be nice. Both of them. I think they would cancel each other out on that. So if you're going to stand, Kane takes him out standing.
Yeah.
He was so technical. And I've said it every single time in a Kane fight. He was technical because he was unbelievable. He could literally stand there and pick you apart as a heavyweight. And he wouldn't hit you with big shots. He'd hit you. He'd just and then he would hit you with a big one and then you were done.
Phenomenal.
But he would just let you know I'm here, and then there it comes. Yeah. Yeah, he's
underrated, and I don't know why.
So underrated.
I don't know why, but he is.
Yeah.
100%.
Like literally, go back. I get Brock Lesnar had a stomach issue when they fought. Okay, that's fine. Go back and watch that fight. Brock Lesnar was huge compared to him.
Brock healthy is not beating Kane.
No. And you watch that fight, and you watch how he picked him apart in that fight.
Brock just didn't have good striking.
No, that's what I mean.
Brock was take you down and hammer fist you until you could not fight.
Yeah.
Either that or get a choke.
And Kane would he stood there in the pocket with Lesnar and just picked him apart.
Yeah. I think Kane would win this.
Yeah.
All in their primes.
All in their primes. I think Kane is... Now, this is just UFC. So if we do a all-time heavyweight...
I think there's going to be a few fighters who weren't in the UFC who are there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think once we do the all-time heavyweight, which we will at some point, because I want to do it. That would be fun.
Me too.
But that should be a good one. But yeah, right now, all-time heavyweight, I think Kane... And like you said, all these guys are great.
Yeah, this doesn't take anything away from any of these guys. No way.
But I really think he's so underrated. It's not.
He is.
It's crazy.
It's not, I don't even think it should be controversial to say that he is.
Oh yeah, for sure he's underrated.
Yeah.
But to me, he was one of my favorites too. Mm-hmm. Just everything he did. It was,
perfect.
It was, and I think DC had a lot to do with that. Mm-hmm. So I think DC has to have, you have to give DC a lot of credit.
Exactly.
Because I don't think Kane would have. I mean, his talent put him there, but I think DC
he had
definitely
good people
sharpened
around
those
him.
skills.
He had good people around him.
Yeah, for sure.
So we both have Kane, and you know the reasons why. Next up, GSP and Marty Usman. GSP and Usman. Marty Usman. And Kamaru Usman. And I'm a huge GSP fan, but this one's got me thinking. It's got me thinking.
I don't know. This one is tough.
Because Usman has just looked so much better in his more recent fights than he ever did, and he already has looked phenomenal.
And I remember GSP in his prime, and like everybody he's fought, not everybody, but like the top. And this would be his toughest matchup, I would say.
No doubt.
Like they keep saying, what do they say, Khabib and GSP?
That wouldn't be the fight to make. It'd be GSP and Usman.
Yeah, I don't think that would even be a fight with Khabib.
I think he'd beat him pretty easily.
This one really does have you have to think about it. Is it a coin? I don't even know if it's a coin flip. It might be.
And obviously we can't call
Too
it a
close
draw.
to
We
call-
got
too
we got
close
we got to pick it. We got to pick it.
Oh man.
Usman, the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now.
You could say that. You know, I mean, John Jones
I
is
know-
ranked there, but John Jones hasn't fought.
John Jones hasn't fought since February of 2020. Usman has fought 3 times since then.
Yeah.
In December, 2 months before he fought, so he's fought 3 times since then alone. He's fought 3 times in less than a year. So, and then he'll be fighting again probably late summer, early fall. So, and I'm not gonna speculate about what that fight will be, but yeah, it is the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. GSP, arguably the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter of all time. 2-division champion, GOAT welterweight for now. Beat everybody there was to beat.
The 2-division champion has a little.
It's
because he fought when he came back. He only fought for that title, and then he left again.
But yeah, look just at welterweight, and it's tough.
I'm leaning towards Usman, and it's fat. The only, I want to say, the main reason I'm leaning towards Usman is the power.
Yeah, Usman has a lot behind those punches.
Not only that, but his wrestling power too. I think Usman can take GSP down and keep him down.
Yeah, GSP was tough too, though.
I know, yeah,
he was powerful.
But I also
strong.
think that if GSP would get clipped or hurt standing,
yeah,
because Matt Serra clipped him and put him out.
Yeah, no offense to Matt Serra, I love Matt Serra, but if he can do it, Usman can do it
for sure. And he probably would have put him out clean. I mean, Matt Serra clipped him and put him down, hurt him, but I'm going Usman.
This is tough. I think it is super, super competitive. I think it goes the distance.
Decision?
I think St. Pierre squeaks by.
So, like...
I think GSP takes it, but extremely close.
Like on a late takedown?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't...
Like end of the round takedown, he gets him and works for it and takes him down?
I think GSP's wrestling was great, too. I think it might equal out. So I think GSP barely takes it. But the better Usman gets, the more my answer is going to lean towards him.
See, you just said like that you think the wrestling would cancel each other out. I think that's why Usman would win, because of the stand-up.
Fair.
Because I think Usman would be too strong for him standing.
I think, like I said, I think the better Usman gets,
yeah,
the more he wins, the more... Like, if he comes out against Colby and just annihilates him like he never annihilated anybody before, then my answer might change.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough now
Then my
because he
answer
is
might
in his
change.
prime right now, and he's only getting better.
It'll be easier in retrospect once Usman retires.
Yeah.
Then it'll be easier, but I don't think he's peaked yet.
No, I think he's only getting better.
That's why my answer is St. Pierre now.
Yeah, I get what you're
Ask
saying.
me a year from now, and it might not. Ask me in October or November, whenever he fights Covington, it might not be.
Yeah.
But at this very moment, it's St. Pierre. But at this very moment, Usman's getting better.
Yeah, that's
And
the scary part.
every fight, I mean, he dropped like he's got some punching power. He dropped Burns with a jab.
Yeah.
But I think GSP's tougher than Gilbert Burns though.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't think he drops GSP with a jab.
No, I mean I don't think he dropped a whole lot of people with a jab.
But I think he wears him out enough where he does quite a bit of damage and then he puts him out.
I think it's close.
He doesn't put him out. I think he puts him down and then TKO.
I think it's like I said. For right now, I'm going St. Pierre. But a year from now, it might not be. And when Usman retires, I might not be.
So,
but that's as of right now on June 12th, 2021. Ask me June 12th, 2022 and 2023, and it could be different. But
yeah. So our heavyweight champion, we both have Cain Velasquez, and our middleweight champion, welterweight. Sorry, I have Kamaru Usman, and you have George St. Pierre, which can
They're-
easily be flip flopped.
They're the two greatest welterweights of all time.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
So next, we'll do the
Live show tonight, obviously. By the time
later
this video
tonight.
comes out, the live show will have happened. So thank you guys if you check it out. But yeah, our live show for UFC 263 will be already up on the channel. Once this comes out, it'll already be up there. So if you drop by, thank you. We appreciate it.
Stop by for we do one every month.
Every pay-per-view.
Every pay-per-view we do our live.
If you want to see us do more fight companions too, let us know. We did one. If you want us to do another one, comment below. Let us know.
And we will be doing more fantasy tournaments. We have our middleweight, lightweight.
Yeah, we will probably
all of
do
them.
maybe middleweight and lightweight for the next two.
Yeah.
Well, I already know Chael Sonnen's going to run through middleweight, so that's easy for me to know. No, all joking aside, but if we'll probably end up doing more fight companions, but let us know if you liked it, if you want us to do some more. And live show tonight, and UFC 263 tonight. If you check it out, I think it's gonna be a banger of a card. Nate Diaz is back. One Stockton slap, and I'll lose my mind. As will that entire. Can you imagine? No. And obviously, once this video comes out, we'll know what happens. But if Nate Diaz, even if he's getting obliterated, just stands in front of Leon Edwards in the middle of the cage, slaps him, and then flips him off. Can you imagine what that arena is going to do? It's going to go nuts.
Yeah. So when this comes out, you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll
If
know what happens.
The first Italian champion, gets crowned.
Yep.
If we get a new flyweight champ and still, if Nate shocks the world again, if people remember Belal Muhammad's name, and if Paul Bearju Craig beats Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
Preview show will be live. Well, I keep forgetting that we're airing this later, but
yeah. Every pay-per-view, it's live at 7.
So our next one will be for UFC 264 in less than a month now, July 10th.
Yeah.
Such a good card, that too. We're really getting treated. Hopefully it stays together.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
And check out the fight nights too, because the fight night main events are pay-per-view worthy.
Korean Zombie and Dan Ige next weekend, and then Cyril Gane, Elgin Volkov the week after, and then after that there's 2 weeks off, and then there's Poirier McGregor, then Holloway Rodriguez, co-main event, Marion Renault, Misha Tate.
Yeah, I'm just upset that these cards are not like these fight night cards are in front of no crowd. It's
some of them are maybe better than pay-per-view main events.
They should be in front of crowds. I don't care if you have to put like 40 people in the Apex. Just do it.
Or go to the Mandalay Bay or
come on,
the Palms or something.
Do something like get these crowds back.
Yeah.
And Vegas is 100% open.
Yeah, or take the guys from I forget Tough's not. They're not there anymore. I don't think, but
no,
are they still? They're not there anymore, right?
No.
Yeah, get crowds there. I mean, Holloway Rodriguez needs a crowd. Sanhagen Dillashaw needs a crowd. Misha Tate's return fight needs a crowd. Dan Ige and the Korean Zombie needs a crowd, and I'm so upset that that's not getting one, but
yeah,
it is what it is. So this video will actually air probably the day of Dan Ige and Chan Sung Jung. So, yeah. But check out UFC 263 tonight. Early prelims at 6:30, regular prelims at 8, main card at 10. Just one of the most stacked cards I've ever seen, top to bottom. And I'm very, very shocked that it stayed intact.
Yeah.
The main event, Adesanya Vettori 2. I'm not going to do anything more than preview that because we'll do in the live show. But yeah. So I think that's all I got for today. About you?
Yep. Just thanks for tuning in.
Like and subscribe. We really appreciate it.
And everybody wants a sponsored email.
Yeah, the email will be down in the description, so check that out.
We'll give you some shout outs for the next few shows. And
absolutely. Live shows, everything. So thank you guys for the support. Once again, we are Throwing in Leather. I'm Justin.
I'm Corey.
Thank you for checking us out, and have a good night. Enjoy the fights if you're checking them out tonight.